Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble news channel. We were there from 2011 to 2020. I think he's kind of picked up where 2020 left off in a lot of ways and brought Bitcoin to huge amounts of money. I don't understand why more businesses haven't followed his lead since the outbreak and inflation have happened just as he said they would. There it is, the melted ice cube, as he called it at the time. Hi there, crypto architects. Max Keiser gives a nuanced prediction for the world of Bitcoin in this interesting report. Keiser draws attention to the fact that paper currencies are losing value around the world at a speed that has never been seen before. He predicts a big change in the latter part of 2023. His deep analysis points to a world in which everything will be found in the end. The huge value of Bitcoin, which is used to value it, is causing a big change that is pushing other assets towards zero in comparison. The most important part of Keiser's speech is his recognition of Michael Saylor as a fellow thinker who shares his interest in beauty and aesthetics, to big pools of capital, which turned out to be a very important move, especially since inflation and economic problems were on the horizon. Especially interesting is the fact that big companies, with BlackRock leading the way, are shifting their attention to Bitcoin. This change in strategy backs up the Saylor's forethought and shows that cryptocurrency is a pure and perfect way to pay. Keiser makes it clear that Bitcoin has a disruptive effect, which is an idea that people have been looking for since the start of the crypto market. On the current status quo, some people are amazed by how much power it has to change things, while others see it as a threat that could completely change the financial world. The upcoming video claims to go into great detail about Max Keiser's deep thoughts on Bitcoin's likely success, how the crypto market is changing, and what exciting things are expected to happen in the coming months. Get ready for a fascinating look into the future of business led by the inspiring Max Keiser. Crypto is just a new way to use regular money, which is what coins are. And the CBDC is a coin. They're changing the way money works. All derivatives that are built on coins are just fiat money. They are centralized, and they aren't worth talking about. It's becoming clear that central banks have nothing but hamsters on their balance sheets as paper currencies around the world fall apart in real time. This is making people realize that super hyper-Bitcoinization is the only way to fight super high hyperinflation. We're now at the end of the 300-year saga of central banks. The big banks are all failing because the fraud that's built into their business plans is too much for them to handle. Also, Bitcoin was made to be a national bank. Now is the time for Bitcoin. People who aren't interested in Bitcoin right now aren't likely to be around for another 2 or 3 generations, right? I guess getting hurt is a good way to learn. A lot of us have had it happen. Business groups, I think that because you have shareholders and such, you might have to be a little more responsible about getting wrecked and becoming it. You can't be a degenerate corporation and last very long. The same is true for a nation state. For example, President Bukele always says that where El Salvador is going is where we want to be, which is very important because if you have a bunch of pointers there, where do they want to be but wrecked? You don't want to ruin country because it's not a good place to be. El Salvador has had a broken country for 200 years. Now they have the Bitcoin Citadel, which is where everyone wants to be because it is the savior, the ark, and the safe place. There is a sense of urgency around the world when it comes to Bitcoin adoption. For example, in Lebanon, where the central bank collapsed, there is a sense of urgency for Bitcoin and the people who had Bitcoin lived. This is happening all over the world. Because we are the kingdom, there is less of a rush here in the US. At the time, we are the accepted currency around the world, but that will soon change. A lot more people want to join BRICS than want to join NATO. The global financial world is now split into 2 parts, BRICS and NATO. The global south is leaning towards Bitcoin, which is perfect money. We can see that in El Salvador, and it's spreading all over the area. In other words, Central America will become very Bitcoinized. That's not all. Africa is also moving towards Bitcoin for the same reason they missed the telecommunications revolution of the 20th century, but will skip ahead to the 21st century change with Bitcoin. And to use a bad word that someone in the farming business might know, this means that the US and the UK are probably. El Salvador has an edge because it was the first to do it. The smartest and best people are going there. There are the best Bitcoin businesses there. That's all there is to it. The market is ours. The place to shop is El Salvador. It will be a fight for the rest of the world. They are going to fight over that 20% of the coin. They are going to the glue plant to find the best coiners. Okay, that's why they have to fight, since it's tough. President Bukele isn't really cool, is he? He has a lot of fans, is charming, and makes it look easy, but it's not. It's tough. Bitcoin is tough and takes a lot of work. And you can see the effects now that companies like Folder and Jack Mallers are coming to El Salvador. But it took a lot of work to get there. These other countries are 2 years behind us. They must not know how hard it is because he makes it look easy. It looks easy with Bitcoin. They think it's easy, which is why there are 25,000 points. Just come up with a blockchain encryption. Then you say, yeah, that's the magic using the same words. It takes a lot of work. Not just magic. Well, other countries can use El Salvador as a model and follow its lead. Basically, the plan turns Bitcoin into legal money. Then rules about securities are made, which would allow Bitcoin to be used as money while everything else is seen as a security. That's why, in the US, this is still a hazy and gray area that the SEC and Gary Gensler fight over every day. We've already made it clear in El Salvador that Bitcoin is the only real money and everything else is a threat. After that, there is a new regulatory commission to help make sure those rules are followed. The Bitcoin office is a way to get started with Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin Association makes it possible for Bitcoin companies to come to El Salvador. This means that there is now a social and structural plan, and now there are things you can do to copy what's going in El Salvador. You can also have an economy. Getting bigger tourism is growing big time, and by this time next year, it will likely have the world's fastest growing economy. CAR or Central African Republic. Central African Republic, they chose to make Bitcoin a form of money. They were taken over by owners in 2 weeks, who flew in like locusts. That country went from being the third poorest in the world to being the poorest in the whole world. Thanks coins, which means that if you let coins in, you will suffer a lot. This is the fun part. We worked hard, and now it's time to enjoy the results. We've been barnstorming the world since 2011, and Turg de Meester, who has been here before, was on the Keiser report in 2014, where we talked about our guesses about which country would be the first to make Bitcoin legal currency. We told them it would be a